From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. Live from the shores of Santa Monica with the big exciting news about those third stimulus MSC checks landing and fourth stimulus checks landing in people's bank accounts. All the latest details on that. It's a big recording as the third stimulus MSC checks have landed and fourth stimulus and big checks have landed as well. $15,000 to $80,000. How you get it? They're coming up in today's recording. Then we'll be looking at what happened in the last few minutes. Yes, the President of the United States in Brussels. And in that Brussels meeting, he met to discuss the NATO alliances, but also discuss, oh boy, you ready for it? 6 stimulus. And it's as though the president was watching this channel because guess what had happened? Over the last 4 weeks, I've been talking about the need for that wheat assistance in the 6 stimulus package. And that's what he talked about during the economic meetings in Brussels minutes ago. All the latest details of what the president said. Then we had that breaking news last night on primetime on Evenings LA, America's most watched show in primetime for financial news. A 7th stimulus package for student loan debt forgiveness. All the latest details on that. Plus, we'll be looking back at that CR, getting another round. CR, a new round next week because of COVID. And there could potentially be a check in there. The latest details on that big SS300. And then, of course, the Build Back Better Act will lead with, I know there's a lot in today's recording, no less than 9 different stimulus packages to go over. We'll first start with Build Back Better. Then we'll be going over to CR with that new round next week. We're giving more money for COVID, but potentially more money for a stimulus check. Then we'll be looking at SS300 with those new comments from Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve. Big news, could inflation be coming down faster than your swap to COLA inflation? Then we'll be looking at the big exciting news of those third stimulus MSC checks landing in your hand. 4 stimulus checks landing in your hand. And then 6 stimulus heating up in April and 7 stimulus announced by the White House happening in May for student loan debt forgiveness. It's a big recording from the shores of the Black Seas to the shores of Santa Monica, California. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. Let's get to it. It's a big morning's broadcast. Here we go. Everything's here. Your stimulus, but the bacon still missing. It's mornings. Here we go. And good morning, everybody. It's a big morning of Mornings LA, live on air from Santa Monica, California, with all the incredible great news of those MSC checks have landed from third stimulus. I'm going to show you how to get it if you haven't. Then we'll be looking to that fourth stimulus. Those checks have landed as well. Huge details. Then we'll go over to Brussels. Well, not in this recording, but for your money, because guess what? The Biden administration did exactly what he should do. He talked about the economic elements at issue in that 6 stimulus package in the Brussels meeting. Wow. It's as though he'd been watching this channel, all the latest details on what happened. And to give you a preview, it was about wheat. Then we'll be looking back at the breaking news about that 7th stimulus package. And it heats up in early May for student loan debt forgiveness. A lot going over in today's recording. I know it is, and we're going to get that pen and paper ready. Get it ready, because I have a lot of money to get you. We're going to start with the Build Back Better Act. The fourth stimulus recon, the Build Back Better Act, not law, but currently in the Senate. Get a pen and paper ready. We're going to go over all these incredible checks that will be detailed more in prime time on America's most watched show for financial news in prime time, Evenings LALATE. But first, let's go over all these incredible checks in there, 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. Those 3 clusters amount to $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. If that number sounds familiar, stay later in this video, you'll hear it again. In that first cluster, we have hazard pay and elder care checks, farmers checks, independent contractors checks. Then in the first cluster has hazard pay, elders checks, then care for young children. The CTC checks, the the college students checks of $550, and then the $12,500 for a new electric vehicle plus the home repairs. How do you get these incredible checks? Oh boy, you want them, do you? Tune in to Evenings LA tonight in prime time at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We'll go over all those incredible checks. The first add-on of checks to this Build Back Better for stimulus is $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. Yes, it comes on the shores of Southern California. Maxine Waters got it in there. Just a little bit less than $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. How do you get it? Tune in tonight for Evenings LA, America's most watched show in prime time. We'll go over those checks and how you get them at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. In that second cluster of checks, home repairs and paid leave. Paid leave is a lot of money, folks, upwards of $4,000 to $6,000 a year. How do you get it? Again, tune in tonight. I'll go over those checks in detail. That second add-on of checks, $250 billion. What is it for? Oh, boy. Free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Huge. Incredible. Then we'll go to that third cluster checks, seniors checks, free internet checks for all, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, and then those seniors getting lots of checks. In that Build Back Better, the senior checks would be dental, vision, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, hearing checks, and the Medicaid gap fix, which is par for the course when we're talking about adding checks to the recon, the Build Back Better. The other checks the senators vow to add in there are MSC, monthly IRS stimulus checks. Now let's slow it down. This is why you need a pen and paper. The third stimulus is sending out, and viewers have gotten them this week and last week, monthly stimulus checks from the third stimulus package, which is law last year. Yes, MSCs from third stimulus. But Build Back Better, where we are in this recording so far, we're going over the fourth stimulus, IRS stimulus checks. These are different. These would land for people who got a third stimulus check. Let's go over the details. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you get it. Double it. Family of four, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rural benefits, or an adult dependent, you get as well. These IRS fourth stimulus Build Back Better MSC checks would pay out about 6 months, $2,000, the first month, $1,000 thereafter. So says the legislators to viewership of this channel. And that is, my friends, the Build Back Better Act, not law yet, but in the Senate. Let's slow it down and recap where we are so far. That is the Build Back Better Act, not law yet, fourth stimulus recon. But what happened? What happened was the last 2 weeks. Third stimulus, going back in time, started to pay out MSC checks to the members of this channel. How do you get it? It's coming up later in this video. It's in addition to those fourth stimulus Build Back Better Act MSC checks. Yes, it's law, and it became a law last year. How do you get these checks? They're coming up later in the video. Third stimulus MSC checks. Now, also coming up later in this video is a fourth stimulus add-on. Remember, the Build Back Better Act, fourth stimulus recon, is in the House and the Senate, not law yet. But Joe Biden, 4 weeks ago, made a law without Congress's involvement. And it's paying out, you ready for this? The same amount of money, $15,000 to $80,000. And the members of the channel have gotten it. It's that fourth stimulus check. Have you gotten it? If you haven't, stay with me. It's coming up later in this video. Fourth stimulus checks landing. Third stimulus MSC checks landing. You want them? Stay with me. They're coming up later in this video. But first, let's go over that CR. Wow. Now, this is fascinating. You saw that CR heat up 2 weeks ago. Continuing resolution did not get any money in there for COVID. Well, Joe Biden got it right, because guess what's happening? The subvariant for Omicron is now spreading across the United States and will be the dominant strain within days. And Joe Biden is not happy he got no money in there for COVID. So he's coming back with another version of the CR this coming week. Could he potentially get a stimulus check in there? He can. That's heating up later tonight on Evenings LA. But what is next at issue? SS300. SS300 was a Joe Biden campaign promise and also part of his presidential platform at joebiden.com, swapping COLA for inflation as your benchmark. Inflation is tracking the highest price point of a generation, 8% December. January, 8%, and potentially higher right now. Why? Because the 10-year Treasury note, the bond trade is trading it up higher. They think that inflation may be higher. So if Joe made that phone call to swap cola for inflation right now, you'd lock in 8%. That would be $200 more per month. And if he did that, if it stayed that way and came down to, let's say, 4% later this year in December, when they reassess your benefits in December for next year, you get another $100. That would be SS 300. But what's part of the equation? Jay Powell, this guy, he's head of the Federal Reserve. His job is to bring down inflation. And his job is to bring it down. So you want Joe to swap cola for inflation right now when inflation's hot. Because remember, when you lock in that higher rate, you lock it in a generation. If you get $200 more per month now, you get it not just this month, not just this year, a lifetime. So hashtag Joe make the phone call. Let's go over the details of where that situation is right now. The situation right now is that Jay Powell, his job is to bring down inflation. And he had told us a month ago he was going to do a soft landing. Soft landing, hard landing. What's at issue? Soft landing means easing into it. Jay Powell has FOMC meetings every month, and he had said he was going to do quarter basis point this month. He did. But then the meeting was held, and what did he say? We're staying at a quarter basis point indefinitely for the next 6 meetings. 175 basis points. Quarter is otherwise known as 25. 25 times 6, 175. Good. And then he said we're going to come down to 1.9% inflation by the end of the year. Oh boy, more about that in a second. But how it happened in the last 48 hours. Jay Powell pivoted. Oh, he really pivoted. He said maybe that's not enough. Maybe we'll have to do a half basis point over several meetings. He did not say he would. He said maybe. Why? Because the Fed governors have been very aggressive in the last 3 days, like Bullard and Wallace, saying we need to do a hard landing. Hard landing is like a hammer. You take a hammer and you hit it really hard. You don't ease into it slothfully. And they want half every single meeting consecutively. Wall Street doesn't like it. I don't like it. I think it could cause stagflation. I don't like it. So what's the good news? The good news is if Joe Biden made the swap for cola inflation right now, you're good. Because inflation is not falling just this month, right? Not that quickly. And early April, I think you're good. I think you're also good for late April. But it's the May part of the equation we don't know. And here's the part of the analysis and how it flows. The part of the analysis that flows the following is that a lot of Wall Street analysts and myself agree that Jay Powell is trying to talk inflation down. That Jay Powell no longer has the tools as the Fed head that he once had. Why? Because he messed up. He missed it badly last year when he said inflation was going to be transitory, one of the most ridiculous words of 2020 and 2021. It was not transitory. It's not temporary. He missed it. He also mispredicted where inflation was going to fall. I said it was going to be 8%. It was not Jay Powell's 1-2%. So first he missed last year, but also the other part of the equation is that inflation is not being caused by these factors. It's being caused by China and Russia. Supply chain. So a lot of Wall Street analysts and myself agree that Jay Powell may not be able to bring it down as quickly as he thinks. That's good for you, because if Joe makes that swap for cola for inflation, we got more days to work with. Hashtag Joe make the call. Make the call, Joe, and swap it out for cola for inflation. Here's part of the equation. If Joe makes that swap, we're good now. Early April, we're good. Late April, I think we're also good. But what about May? Don't know yet. It's a little nerve-wracking. What about that December? Let's go back to what I said about that December. Jay Powell wants to reduce inflation to 1.9% in December. That's not what he said a month ago. He said 4%. 4% is another $100. That's SS 300. 1.9% is like SS 20, SS $5. Yeah. What is that? You don't want $5 plus 100 now this month or 200. So make the swap, Joe, now, and then we'll see what happens later this year. My prediction is Jay Powell absolutely will not be able to get to 1.9% by the end of the year. I don't think that, and I don't think Wall Street believes that either. But we have to be careful. So Joe, make the call. Make the call. Now let's get a preview of what's coming up later in this video, and let's go over what you need to know. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Let me tell you how the videos flow. The videos flow from one package to another. And so if you jump into the video when it just starts, you say, where is that thing? Stay with me, because I'll get to your thing throughout the broadcast. Also, it's important for you to know that stimulus packages overlap. So if you're new to this video or this channel, let me explain to you. Third stimulus became the law in 2021, last year. It's now paying out a MSC check this week. Yes, that's happening right now. For stimulus, that add-on became a law for the President of the United States 4 weeks ago. It's paying out right now. Viewers have gotten it. So third and fourth are happening at the same time. What will happen next and overlap? Six stimulus as early April. Because why? The progressives, the trifecta of Germany, France, and the United States, want to do a major stimulus package because, yeah, of Putin. They want to do it because of Putin. And guess what? It's very, very spooky. The President of the United States just addressed the NATO allies, and he spoke about exactly what I've been talking about for six stimulus for 4 weeks. Wheat and grain. Oh my goodness. Hi, Brian DC. I guess you've been watching this channel. Yeah, it's as though they've been watching me per minute. He spoke exactly about what I've been talking about. And guess what? No broadcast media has been covering this, and now they are. Thank you for now catching up. I'll go over the latest of that six stimulus package, which will heat up in April. What would heat up next? Heating up next, and you saw it in prime time on America's Most Watched for financial news in prime time evenings LA last night, is 7 stimulus package. Yes, 7 stimulus. The White House has given us guidance that by May 2nd, they will make a determination about, drumroll, student loan debt forgiveness. Yes, the 7 stimulus package is about student loan debt forgiveness. What will happen likely after April or May is about this stimulus package. This stimulus package is for seniors, that SSI reform. And Build Back Better Act, could be about April, maybe mid-April or early May. We don't know exactly when, but that's likely at the same time of these things. Guess what's coming up in the second half of this video? I'm going to show you how to get those third stimulus MSC checks that viewers have now gotten. I'm going to show you how to get those fourth stimulus checks that viewers have now gotten. Then I'll give you a preview of those 6 stimulus checks and what the president said in Brussels just minutes ago about them. Wow. Then we'll go with that student loan debt forgiveness and more. Oh, we got a big broadcast today. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and we've gone from just a handful of stimulus packages to 7 in just a few days. Wow, it's exciting. But first, here's a little bit about the members community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. During the commercial break, become a member. The link to become a member is at the top of the chat and under the video's comment, so you get all these third MSC checks and the 4 stimulus checks as well. See you back in 60 seconds as Mornings LALATE continues.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues as a big Mornings LALATE goes into a big second half. I'm excited for you. Boy, what a big day it is with so many stimulus packages happening at the same time. Third stimulus, MSC checks. Fourth stimulus, big $15,000 to $80,000 checks landing. And then 6 stimulus right behind that as the president jets to Brussels for a 2-day conference. Day 2 is wrapping today, and I have his latest comments. It was about 6 stimulus. Then 7 stimulus heating up in early May with the president hitting that guideline. Oh boy, we got a big second half. Get your pen and paper ready. If you're a member, great. If you're not, become one right now. Let's get to the breaking news across the board. We're going to start first with those four stimulus checks. Four stimulus checks of $15,000 to $80,000 have landed in the members' hands. Let me explain what this is, and I'm going to slow it down, so follow along with notes. The Build Back Better Act is a bill, and it started in Congress, and it's not done in Congress. It's not a law yet. But along the way, the president was watching, and 4 Fridays ago, he announced an add-on, which is law. He did it. He did not need Congress. It's called, for purposes of this recording, the Homeowners Grant. As soon as it became law, I immediately featured it in the membership newsletter that night for my members. And immediately my members got their application on file. Because why? As I said, it's first come, first serve. 4 weeks have passed, and the applications are still generally being accepted across the nation. It is $15,000 to $80,000 of checks, and the eligibility is incredible. So let's go over how you get them right now. If you've gotten them, if you haven't, here you go. The homeowners grant went live 4 weeks ago, and the payout is one, $15,000 to $80,000. Second, the income qualification is the same as a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less, you can get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you can get it. You do not double or triple or quadruple it. It's per household. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, you can get it as well. The only thing you need to do is be within the income qualification, and you own your own home. Now, if you're a renter, wait, because in 1 second I'm going to go over you and the homeowners. You can get collectively MSC third stimulus checks. It's huge. I got your money in just a second. All right, let's continue with this homeowners grant. So how do you get it? You become a member. The link's at the top of the chat. The link is under the video's description as well. Become a member, and Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the membership newsletter goes out. In it, you want to go right in there and apply. The grant's complete name is delineated. It's longer than homeowners grant. That's just the shorter name for purposes of this recording. It describes the income qualification we just went over, but more importantly, it describes what you can use the money for. Things like property repairs and property taxes. Huge. Then it explains everything you need to know to get approved. And finally, it gives you the links. It gives you the links because it's an online application. It routes you first to the federal website and then to your state website. And what do? You pounce Purple Hawks. The Purple Hawks of this channel have been pouncing for 4 weeks. What's the status? Viewers have been getting paid. $15,000 to $80,000, like Mark, who got $66,000 paid this week, on top of the over $100,000 he's gotten for third stimulus for this channel in recent weeks. Countless viewers send me wonderful messages saying, got the application in, approved, just waiting to get funded. You want to pounce. Now remember, this is $15,000 to $80,000. It's huge, and it's first come, first serve. So every day that delays, every day that you don't become a member, every day that you don't get your application on file, there could be thousands of people in your state getting in front of you. It's not unlimited funds, so first come, first serve. You want to pounce, Purple Hawks. Again, it's been live for 4 weeks. It's for stimulus, it's law, and it is paid out to the members of this channel. Congratulations to you. All right, now let's turn to those MSC third stimulus checks. Let's take a step back, slow it down. Third stimulus already paid you one stimulus check, but this is an addition to it. Yes, you can get it additionally. What's important for you to know is that this is an addition to those IRS MSC checks that are in the Build Back Better Act, which is not law yet. So says the senators across the board. They represent they're going to put it in there. So this, in contrast, is law. It was made law last year. This, in contrast, has paid out. The members of the channel have gotten it. And let's go over all the incredible details of this. This requires you to use your pen. This requires you to use your paper. This requires you to use your phone, because these, my friends, are not $1,400 checks. These are astronomical big checks. And while the Build Back Better Act proposes to give you 6 months of $1,000 checks, oh no, these are an average $2,000 1 year 12 checks at $2,000 a pop on average. Let's go over the incredible success stories. But first, let's look at one of them, and then I'll give you history of where this came from. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. So here's an example of one of the people who have gotten these MSC checks. From March 21st, Lindsay Ramirez is getting 12 months of $1,500 MSC checks. It breaks down to 2 checks per month. One check for $1,000 a month for rent for 12 months, And the other check coming every month for 12 months is $500 for utilities. She's getting $1,500 for 12 months. That's a lot more than than the 4 stimulus recon proposes. So let me go over where this came from. It's fascinating. In December 2020, when there wasn't a lot of money, we had just ended the first stimulus. The second stimulus was not a law, never became law. I said, you need money. It's Christmas. So I found the money for viewers. There wasn't a lot of it, $250,000 tops for all the viewers of this channel. And it was for rent, utilities, mortgages as well. Money for renters and money for homeowners. But the great news, perhaps the best document I ever got from this channel, was a preview, exclusive preview of a piece of legislation in the works that was going to come the next year, 2021. I coined the expression, third stimulus, just like I've coined the expression, fourth stimulus, fifth stimulus, sixth stimulus, seventh stimulus. You haven't heard the expressions anywhere else. I said, this is coming next year. It's going to be huge. Why? Because the same sum of money I'm getting you right now, just the same item of monies I'm getting you right now, just an astronomical more amount of money. As soon as it became law, I thought that I can get you about $15,000 from that third stimulus money. Ugh, I was wrong, because the viewers of this channel got a lot more than that. They got a lot more than that. They got an average about $45,000. Mark got over $100,000. Viewers kept on getting massive sums of money from these monies every single day. Lorraine, $100,000. Nancy, $33,000. Mark, over $100,000. Day in, day out, these massive numbers came on in. What were they doing? Well, I was telling them to get a round of these monies, 3 or 4 months, that January 2021. Then summer, I said, get another round, 3 or 4 months. They did. They did. Last winter, get another round, 3 to 4 months. They did. And then recent weeks, I said, get another round, 3 to 4 months. And they said, no, LALATE, I'm not going to get another round. I'm going to get an MSC out of it. I'm going to get a year of it, unbeknownst to me, until I started seeing the success stories coming in. And I said, what's going on here? Everyone's getting 12 months of these checks? And suddenly we saw it. The members created it. The members took my education and ran with it. And here you go. We just saw Lindsay Ramirez. Here's Olivia Summers. This is also from March 21st. She's getting 4 years of checks amounting to $150,000 for this channel. David Allen, that same day, member, got 9 months of rent at $1,500. Let's let that set in and marinate for a second. 9 months at $1,500. That's a lot more than 6 months of checks at $1,000 under the Build Back Better Act. It's huge. It's astronomically huge. He's only been a member for 2 months, only a viewer for 2 months of this channel. And as soon as he became a member, he learned and he ran with it. Mr. Bean, 9 months, $16,000. Annabelle, she got 6 months. It's huge. It's probably about 10,000. We have Morticia, who got this sums of money as well. We have day earlier, if I could get the page to flip, even more money. It's just every single day the money's coming in. Here we go. Johnny Horvathan from March 15th got 8 months, $26,000. Day in, day out, these numbers kept on coming on in. And this was what was snowballing. Brian Graves from Toledo, Ohio got 8 months. It's astronomical. So what's going on? The viewers of the channel were just understanding that, hey, maybe I don't have to do 3 to 5 months, 3 to 4 months as a round. I'll do 8, 10, 12, 24, 48 months of these items. And there you go. MSC checks. These are for renters and homeowners. So how do you get it? Let's go over all the incredible details. You need a pen, you need a paper, and you need a phone. You can get these MSC checks. You're going to do the following things to get these monthly huge checks. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, and your county house authority. And the key words you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Let's pause there for a second. Remember, when I give you information, you need to follow it exactly. So you're going to go ask for that rent assistance for COVID. If you're a renter, I got the homeowner's statements in just a second. You're not going to call up and say, where's my MSC check? Because that's not what I say for you to do. You're going to ask for rent assistance because of COVID if you're a renter. And if you are a renter or homeowner, you're going to ask for utility assistance because of COVID. If you're a homeowner, you're going to ask for mortgage assistance because of COVID. There you go. Those are the words you say, the magic words. You must reach out to all 6 places I just went over. Now, if you're a member, I got about a half dozen more places in the membership newsletter. They're in the nonprofits. So you'll have upwards of 12 places. You put in multiple applications. Remember, if you get one no, you don't stop. A no is good. You have a 50% rejection rate, but you also have about a 50% approval rate. Look at this older graphic. Do multiple rounds? Well, you may not have to if you get these MSC checks of all these incredible months. There you go. Get that membership newsletter, because guess what? That membership newsletter has the nonprofits in there. You'll get upwards of about 12 places to reach out to, which will give you about a shot of a lot more places to get these sums of money. Huge details across the board. Rely on those nonprofits because they also do the nominal home repairs, like broken windows. Average view of this channel has gotten 45,000, and there you go, my friends. That is those MSC third stimulus checks for renters and homeowners. You can get it in addition to everything you've gotten. The average view of this channel has gotten 45,000. Do it today. Do not wait. That, my friends, is those third stimulus MSC checks. Do it right today. Now, the President of the United States is in Belgium, and just minutes ago he spoke about something, and it was eerily spooky. Why was it so spooky? Because it's as though he was watching me. He's there to discuss the allegiance of the NATO allies to ensure that they're shored up for military adequacy if Vladimir Putin takes a step against any NATO territory. But I also told you he's over there to talk about six stimulus. What is six stimulus? Six stimulus is Putin-caused stimulus. First and second, which didn't become a law, was for COVID, or to be for COVID. Third is coming out of COVID. Fourth is coming out of COVID. Fifth is for seniors. That's not a law yet, and we don't even have a bill for it. It's likely at the end of the line of this group. Six is coming potentially in April. Why? Because the trifecta at issue, Germany, France, and the United States, are all progressives. Biden, the Chancellor of Germany, and the President of France, Macron. But they're all watching to see if Macron gets reelected in April. What is six stimulus for? It's for Putin to prevent us from going into recession, preventing those trifecta, Germany and France, from going into recession. Because remember, if France go into recession, we go into recession. I had told you before you went to Belgium yesterday in prime time on Evenings LA that you're not going to hear them say the word stimulus. They may not even say the word recession or economic relief, and that you're generally going to hear them talk about military issues. Well, I guess I was wrong, because guess what? They talked exactly about what I cover on this channel. I had told you that six stimulus was for solving the issues like oil and solving the issues of the commodities like wheat. And guess what? Joe Biden sat there and talked about wheat. Oh my goodness. Thank you for watching me, Joe. Say hi to Jill for me. And Brian DC, nice to see you as well. It's as though Joe Biden has been watching me day in, day out. Now, the price of oil is out of control today, folks. It is at 120 and went to 127, I think, the day before that. That's the worst level we've seen the Brent crude price, since this channel has existed. It's gotten worse since day one of the invasion. But here we go. Every single night on Evenings LA, I tell you that six stimulus is to solve all these issues. And one of the issues I say is that our partner allies, like the Middle East, and I specifically reference Egypt, are 80% dependent upon wheat from Ukraine or Russia. So what did God, goodness sake, what did Joe Biden do minutes ago? He sat with his partner allies in Belgium and said, you know what? We need to get wheat to our partner allies. Thank you for watching me, Joe. So here we go. Joe said that we need to get wheat to our partner allies because they're so dependent upon the wheat from that region. And he specifically dedicated $11 billion of not checks, don't send me a message about checks, $11 billion of resources for basically wheat to those partner allies, specifically in Asia and Africa, that are impacted directly. Part of an existing body of legislation. He didn't have to do a new piece of legislation. It's called Feed for the Future Initiative, which already existed. So in the next 5 years, there'll be $11 billion of food security to prevent nutritional concerns in Africa and Asia, which would dramatically be hurt by all these events of Russia and Ukraine. Why? Because Ukraine exports to that area, and those farmers aren't able to export. Now, I think the Biden administration needs to do a little bit more. Why? Because you definitely need a little bit more. You cannot afford $6 a loaf at the supermarket. And we have new breaking news about this today. Brand new. Six stimulus. What is six stimulus? Six stimulus is to prevent you from going under. It's preventing our economy from going under. Preventing a recession caused by Vladimir Putin. Six stimulus is Putin-caused stimulus. Oil. 127 a barrel this week. Oh, my goodness. Even after that deal, which I'm going to feature again tonight on Evenings LA, that deal with Iran, oil surged up higher. than wheat. If you remember this channel, you see it in the membership newsletter Monday through Friday. The wheat price is at a generational high. It's out of control. Now, here's the new part of the equation you're hearing right now. While we understand you will get this stimulus, because the concept of six stimulus is you need money to survive. You can't afford gasoline at these prices. You can't afford bread at these prices. We need to get off of the Russian products, but to get off of the Russian products to prevent us from going into a recession, what's six stimulus about? Debt spending, Germany debt spending, United States debt spending, French debt spending, and giving stimulus to citizens so they can afford to live and not go into recession. What's a new part of the equation? The wheat and the farmers today. In addition to what Joe Biden said, we learned a new part of the equation, which is obvious. We could have figured this one out ourselves. The farmers in the United States, are they making more money because the wheat is going up? Let's analyze the situation. Because Ukraine is not producing wheat, there's less wheat, so the price of wheat goes up. When there's less of something, it goes up. So the farmers that are making wheat in the United States, are they making more money? They are on the sale of wheat, but guess what? They're losing their shirt on the bottom line. Because to harvest the wheat, they're losing a fortune. Why? You got it. To drive the tractor trailer, they need oil, and it costs them a fortune to drive the tractor trailer. And a new part of the equation you're hearing for the first time on Mornings LALATE live on air today for March 24th, 2022 is manure. Sorry if you're eating breakfast. I'm apologizing. If you're eating that toast, that butter, or the toast is toast and the butter is butter and the coffee is brewing. I'm sorry, but I'm about to talk about manure right now. So you could just turn away or turn off the volume for about 10 seconds. The biggest exporter of manure for many of the world economies is Vladimir Putin. He's manure chief. If you didn't know from all his propaganda, he's the manure chief. I'm not joking about this. And so now the price of running those tractor trailers and harvesting wheat in the United States is going through the roof because of fuel and manure prices. I'm going through the roof. Yeah, it just stinks, doesn't it? So there you go. And this is a big problem, not just for the mom and pop farmers, but it may be a major problem for Kellogg's, cereal, and General Mills and Modell's. We're going to watch this. You don't want to spend, any more for your breakfast cereal than you're already spending, and this could cause major economic turmoil. Oh, my goodness. In evenings, I like when you go over all these elements. Here's what you need to know. Six symbols heating up. April. We're watching for that Macron election. But six stimulus is to deal with a lot of issues. First, to deal with oil prices out of control. 127 a barrel Brent crude. I think it was 2 days ago, 48 hours ago. It's down at 120, which is also too high. I told you day one of the invasion. 120 is not sustainable for more than a month. We're now into 2 months of this invasion. You cannot afford 120 a barrel. And 127 is insane. And you would think we would have stayed low with that Iranian deal. I'll tell you why on Evenings LA tonight. Second part of the equation, we just went over wheat. Next part of the equation, China, supply chain disruption, really troubling. Because China is suffering an Omicron subvariant lockdown. China is now potentially not a investable economy. And here's what's brand new. I don't even have this on Afternoon LA. I'm telling it to you for the first time in mornings, which is a lot of investors and analysts like myself, Larry Fink, chairman of BlackRock, said this morning that the Russian invasion of Ukraine has put an end to globalization we've experienced over the last 3 decades. This is not alone, and I don't want to put words in Fink's mouth, but I want to tell you that Wall Street analysts have said over the last few days that they're telling their investors, do not invest in these world economies where you're dependent upon Xi and how he drinks his cup of coffee for breakfast. They're telling them investors not to invest in China. After that, some people lost their shirts in Russia. And we don't know how a lot of corporate banks may have major corporate losses for debt or equities that they invest in Russia. More importantly, we're watching for that April 4th date when Putin has a $2 billion debt repayment he's not going to make, I'm predicting. He may have made an interest payment on March 16th, but what about that April 4th? Really troubling. Then, let's turn the equation. What about that huge 7th stimulus package? Yes, this came out of nowhere. And it was debuted last night on prime time on Evenings LALATE. It is the 9th of 9 stimulus items covered on this channel. And what happened? The White House is now giving guidance that it will give a determination about student loan debt forgiveness, the 9th stimulus package, on May 2nd. 7th stimulus package on May 2nd. Why? There's been a freeze on debt repayment, student loan debt repayment throughout the pandemic. Now that we're coming out of the pandemic, going into an endemic, there has been still freeze on the student loan debt repayment. The freeze ends May 2nd. So the White House is to make a determination on what to do on student loan debt forgiveness or to extend the freeze. My prediction, I think the White House will extend the freeze for now. That's my prediction. That's a stimulus package. But let me tell you what's heating up. What's heating up is a lot of movement from Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer again, anchoring something for stuff from people like Mark Krantowitz, who is an education expert, that basically says there's a lot of legislation out there, like the ICR plan, the Income Contingency Repayment Plan, which has been law in the books for years. It does not need an act of Congress. All the president has to do is modify it. And if the president modifies it, he can forgive some student loan debt. The analysis by that expert is fascinating, where he says, you know what, and I agree with him, if the president does it, then Congress to undo it would require a series of votes, and the Republicans don't have enough votes to undo it. So if Joe wants to use the pen and do it, the Republicans would not have enough votes to undo it. It's fascinating. So let's go over where we are. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Become a member. The link is at the top of the channel, the pinned comment. If you become a member, you get that newsletter tonight, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. In there, it shows you the link to become a member to get that big $15,000 to $80,000 forced stimulus check that viewers have got, and like Mark 66,000, others have the confirmation it's coming because they are approved. It has information in there about how to get these big monies that are amounting to huge, in some cases, 12 months of checks, like an MSC, huge MSC checks from third stimulus. Then, if you're new to this channel, there are stimulus packages that overlap. Third and fourth currently happening at the same time. Sixth will happen as early as April at the same time. Overlapping. Fifth will be later, the reform for Social Security Administration. Build Back Better, maybe April, maybe May, all together. Then seventh, the student loan debt forgiveness happening in May. And sixth, happening in early April. What's important to understand is where we are today and where we were before. I had a series of great comments, and I really appreciate all the incredible reaction on Evenings LA last night. It was a broadcast like I've never seen before. The people in the live chat admitted that they had a pen and a paper ready. They were taking notes. They asked incredibly great questions. And when some person, perhaps, or maybe two people at the start of the video said, I got a question about this, I said, hold up, it's coming up later. I'll get to you. It's coming up later. It's a 1 hour broadcast. And with 1 hour, I got 7 stimulus packages to go over. They were delighted. And when it got to that item, they got their questions answered. What's important to know is that if you're new to this channel launched on April 25th, 2020. And at that time, we were still getting payments on the first stimulus, which was EIDL, PUA, UI. Those were big payments, folks. Those were $150,000 on average. To get EIDL, to get PUA, to get UI, you had to pick up the pen. You had to go to a website. You had to do something for initiative. You had to push Purple Power. You had to push. For people who didn't push, all they got from first stimulus was $1,400. Everyone else who pushed and did it from first stimulus got $150,000 from this channel, or somewhere around that, $75,000 or $25,000 or $45,000, big sums of money. Second stimulus came and went, and third stimulus came and second stimulus came and went, measly little check. But third stimulus, $45,000. Now let's understand, along the way, some people got used to that $600 measly check that automatically landed. My members never did, because they had understood from first, you have to do things to get big checks. You want big checks, you don't want $600. And they did that, and they got those $45,000 of checks from third stimulus. Now they're doing it again, getting big checks from fourth stimulus, upwards of $80,000. Doing it again, getting those MSC checks on top of that from third stimulus, and ready to pounce on the sixth stimulus. So get that pen and paper ready and join me next at 11 a.m. when we have Home Edition on this channel. It's a great recording across the board. And with that, the toast was toast and the butter was buttering. I'll see you at 11 a.m. and then the continuation continues at 1 and 3 with Afternoons LA Today. And of course, in prime time at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. America's most watched show in prime time for financial news. It's Evenings LA. And with that, make sure you become a member. Stay informed, stay focused, always stay positive, always stay motivated. And I'll have the latest details as Biden continues day 2 from the conferences in Brussels. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with Ally for more.